Welcome to Gracefield Girls' School, a boarding school hidden in the heart of Lagos. On the outside, it looks like a palace where young girls come to learn and grow. But those who whisper its story know the truth. No one really lives there, at least not alive. Many years ago, long before the gates of Gracefield were built, Lagos was home to a couple who captured the city's heart, Patrick and Theresa. Patrick and Theresa Williams were the kind of people everyone admired. Patrick was a wealthy businessman with deep connections, and Theresa, elegant, radiant, adored by the masses, was called the pride of Lagos. The Williams family lived in a sprawling mansion with fences so high they almost touched the sky, guarded day and night by fierce dogs and men whose faces could freeze anyone in their tracks. The family's wealth seemed endless. Estates scattered across Nigeria, schools that bore their name, orphanages, and countless charities. They were celebrated for their generosity, praised for lifting women and youth out of poverty. To the public, Patrick and Theresa were role models, shining examples of love and success. Cameramen followed their every step. TV stations chased their story like breaking news. Whenever they appeared in public, holding hands and smiling, the crowd would cheer. Every Sunday, they stood in front of the church congregation with lifted hands, voices loud in worship, looking like the perfect Christian family. But appearances lie. Behind those towering gates, their marriage was a cold arrangement. They were not lovers, but partners, playing their role for cameras and reputation. Their home, tough beautiful, was a cage of secrets. They had two daughters, Chizzy and Bella, beautiful, spoiled, and untamed. The girls grew up in privilege but without guidance. To outsiders, they were princesses of Lagos, but inside the mansion, their rebellious spirits clashed with the silence and emptiness that lived within those walls. The truth was darker than anyone imagined. The Williams mansion carried an atmosphere so heavy that even visitors felt their skin crawl. And though the family of Lagos praised the family as saints, if only they knew behind those iron gates lay secrets so monstrous that even demons would bow. The Williams family had a special boarding school, Gracefield Girls' School. To outsiders, it was a dream school for poor young girls, a place where the less privileged could find hope and a future. Parents believed their daughters would be educated, fed, and lifted into a better life. But inside those tall gates, the truth was far more sinister. Gracefield was never about education. No one was taught how to read or write. Instead, the girls were taught only one thing: how to bear children. Theresa Williams, with her gentle smile and sweet voice, was the bait. She lured innocent girls with promises of a brighter tomorrow. Once a girl stepped through the gates of Gracefield, her life as she knew it is gone. No holidays, no visits, no escape. It was a prison, without bars, but with walls stronger than iron. The first victim was a 16-year-old girl named Odinaka. She was from a small village in Cross River. An orphan, she struggled to care for her three younger siblings by working as a sales girl in a roadside food stall. Life had been cruel to her, but she never complained. For months, Theresa observed Odinaka, offering her free meals, pocket money, and gentle words of encouragement. Odinaka trusted her completely. After all, Theresa was famous, a woman celebrated on TV for helping the poor. To Odinaka, it felt like a blessing from heaven that such a powerful woman cared about her. One evening, Theresa told Odinaka about Gracefield Girls' School. She painted it as a golden opportunity, a place where Odinaka would get an education, graduate, and find a good job to support her siblings. Without hesitation, Odinaka accepted. She didn't even tell her madam at the food stall. At first, it felt like a dream. Theresa took her to a luxurious house in Lagos, filled with things Odinaka had never imagined. Big screens, soft beds, servants everywhere, and meals fit for kings. She was given new clothes and shoes, even money to send back home. For the first time in her life, Odinaka believed her suffering was over, but dreams don't last. One morning, Teresa told her it was time to resume school. Odinaka packed her clothes with excitement, unaware she was stepping into a nightmare. The moment she entered the compound of Gracefield's girls' school, everything changed. Teresa's mask slipped, and Odinaka saw the real woman beneath the smile. The school was surrounded by armed guards. The girls inside were not students, they were prisoners. Odinaka's freedom ended that day. Her innocence was stolen, her dreams were shattered. Since then, she has given birth to 3 children. Each time, the babies were snatched away before she could even see their faces. She doesn't know where they were taken, or if they are even alive. Now she waits, trapped within the walls of Gracefield, praying every day for a miracle. After Odinaka, more girls followed. Kosiso, a quiet 17-year-old from an orphanage in Enugu, was the next victim. Teresa Williams walked into the orphanage with her usual smile and gentle voice, promising the proprietor that Kosiso would attend her private school, a place where she would study alongside children of the wealthy and build a bright future. The proprietor never doubted her. Why would he? Teresa was the orphanage's biggest supporter. She paid the bills, brought food, and covered the children's school fees. So when she asked for Kosiso, he handed the girl over with no question asked. Kosiso thought she was going to a school of dreams. Instead, she walked straight into a nightmare. Not long after, there was Abena, a starry-eyed teenager from Oshun. Then came Favor, Chidinma, and countless others, deceived, kidnapped, or simply collected like livestock. Within a few years, Gracefield Girls' School was filled with over 300 girls. To the outside world, it was a miracle institution. Parents who couldn't afford education for their daughters even prayed for Teresa to notice them. But she never chose girls with parents. No, she targeted orphans, the forgotten, and those far from home. And as the number of girls grew, so did the Williams' wealth. Baby supplies flowed in and out of the school like water. Their names shone brighter than ever in Lagos. New NGOs were launched. New training centers opened. They were praised as saviors of society, while behind closed doors their mansion reeked of secrets too dark to tell. But evil never hides forever. One night, Patrick and Teresa's own daughter, Chizzy and Bella, snuck out of the mansion to attend a party. Their boyfriends had invited them, and the girls, desperate for freedom, couldn't resist. While their parents slept soundly, the two slipped past the gates, laughing as they ran towards the waiting car. At the party, music blasted, drinks flowed, and the girls danced until their heads spun. What they didn't know was that the boys were not just boyfriends. They were hunters, part of their mother's wicked network. Pills slipped into their drinks, sent them into a dizzy haze, until darkness swallowed them whole. When they woke up, their lives had changed forever. They were no longer in their mansion, no longer in control. Instead, Chizzy and Bella opened their eyes to the high walls and locked gates of Gracefield's Girls' School. They were prison, the very prison their parents had built, surrounded by frightened girls. The sisters finally saw the truth their parents had hidden all their lives. The hunters had become the hunted. The morning after the party, Teresa Williams walked into her daughter's room to wake them for school. But when she opened the door, her heart froze. The beds were empty. The girls were gone. Panic swept through the mansion. Patrick and Teresa searched every corner, turned the house upside down, but found nothing. By midway, Patrick had used his influence to bring in police officers, private investigators, and even soldiers to search the city. Days passed, but no trace of Chizzy and Bella appeared. One day turned into 3. 3 turned into a week. Still nothing. The mighty Williams couple, once untouchable, were now broken with fear. Teresa's blood pressure soared. They invited their pastor to fast and pray for their daughter's safe return. He prayed until his body weakened, but heaven remained silent. Desperate, Patrick and Teresa turned to darker paths. witch doctors, sacrifices at rivers, nights spent on mountain tops. Yet no matter what they tried, their daughter did not return. 1 month passed, then 3, then 6. By then, the couple began to lose hope. But while they searched in vain, their daughters were already trapped inside the very hell their parents had built. Gracefield Girls' School. Chizzy and Bella blended in with the other girls, but life there was brutal. Bella, who had suffered from asthma since childhood, quickly grew weaker without her medication or proper diet. The midwives noticed her condition worsening and called Teresa for help. "Madam, this girl is very weak. She can't breathe well. We have tried everything, but it's getting worse. Please send a doctor," the head midwife begged over the phone. Teresa, drowning in her own grief and anger, snapped, "What nonsense are you saying? Is that why I pay you millions? If you can't treat her, then let her die. Don't disturb me again." She didn't know the girl was her own daughter. For days, Bella struggled. Each breath was a battle. Chizzy never left her side, cradling her twins' frail body, whispering comfort even as her heart broke. The midwives were powerless. Patrick, when connected, only shouted for them to stop bothering him. One evening, after a week's suffering, Bella's fragile body gave up. She died quietly in Chizzy's arms. The other girls watched silently. They had seen too many deaths to cry. At Gracefield, death was normal, like the death of a chicken. The guards carried Bella's body to the back of the school and buried her in a mass grave around dozens of other girls. Life at the school carried on as if nothing had happened. Everyone moved on. Everyone except Chizzy. She wept bitterly, day and night. Guilt tore her apart. She had been the one to drag Bella out of bed that night, insisting they go to the party. Now her twin, her other half, is gone forever. Meanwhile, outside those iron gates, Patrick and Teresa continued their hopeless search, knocking on doors, questioning friends, turning the whole city upside down. To the world, their daughters had vanished into thin air. But in truth, one daughter was already buried in Gracefield's soil, and the other was left alone in the darkness of the prison her parents created. 1 month after Bella's death, Teresa Williams arrived at Gracefield Girls' School in her black SUV, as she always did, escorted by armed guards. It was inspection day, the day she counted the girls and collected newborn babies for her wicked trade. The girls were lined up in the large hall, heads bowed in fear. Teresa walked in with pride, scanning the room. But then, a voice broke through the silence. "Mommy! Mommy!" The sound froze her heart. She turned sharply, and her eyes landed on Chizzy, her own daughter. Teresa staggered back in shock, her world crumbling before her eyes. Guilt and fear swallowed her. She couldn't face Chizzy. Without finishing the inspection, she ran out in tears, ordered the guards to bring Chizzy into the car, and drove back to the mansion. At home, Chizzy revealed everything. How she and Bella were drugged at a party, how they woke up inside Gracefield, how Bella died struggling with her asthma without medicine. Patrick and Teresa broke down, weeping bitterly. It's now dawned on them that the countless calls they received from the midwife to get a doctor was for her own daughter. For the first time, they tasted the pain they had forced on countless families. But Chizzy was different. She couldn't stay silent. That night, she made a vow to save the other girls still trapped in that school. The next morning, she went straight to the police headquarters. At first, no one believed her. But when she revealed her identity as the Williams daughter, the officer listened. Chizzy told them everything she saw. The guards, the midwives, the endless suffering. She even described the exact route back to the school. The police launched a raid immediately. When they stormed Gracefield, the truth shook them to their core. It wasn't a school, it was a baby factory. Dozens of weak and malnourished girls were rescued. The guards and midwives were arrested on the spot. Within hours, the police spread across Lagos like wildfire. News outlets carried it. Social media exploded. The nation was horrified. The staff confessed everything. They revealed that Patrick and Teresa Williams were the masterminds, the ones who paid them to keep the operation running. When the couple realized their cover was blown, they tried to flee the country, but immigration officers intercepted them at the airport. Under questioning, Teresa eventually broke down. She confessed how she lured girls under false promises, how they were forced to get pregnant, and how the babies were sold to hospitals and desperate couples for millions. She even revealed that their NGOs and training centers were just a cover for laundering money. Her confession was broadcast nationwide. The once revered pride of Lagos and her husband were exposed as monsters. Patrick, cornered by her words, also admitted his crimes. The courts moved swiftly. Patrick, Teresa, and their accomplices were sentenced to life imprisonment with hard labor. Gracefield Girls' School was permanently shut down. The government confiscated their wealth and used it to fund rehabilitation for the victims. Each rescued girl was given therapy, scholarship, and housing support to start a new life. For Chizzy, it was bittersweet. She had lost her twin sister forever, but at least Bella's death had opened the door to freedom for hundreds of other girls. Moral lesson: the story of Gracefield teaches us one thing: evil always comes back to the one who does it. Patrick and Teresa built a prison for other people's daughters, but in the end, their own children became victims of their wickedness. The heart of man can be desperately wicked, and not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. As parents and guardians, we must be vigilant. As young people, we must be careful who we trust, because one thing is certain: the evil you throw into the marketplace may one day find its way back to your own doorstep. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another interesting story. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What lesson did you learn from this story? Drop your comments below. Let's talk. May God continue to bless you all. Bye.